Assalamu alaikum and good morning. Welcome to online session with the topic key lesson which you can learn from Lincoln speech. So from unit 5 the same speech from Abraham Lincoln, that what kind of a lesson we can get and how can we analyze the language which he used in that speech, which is very much popular and famous. Please open page number 238. Abraham Lincoln's Gettysburg Address is one of the most famous, most quoted and most recited speeches of all time. It is also one of the shortest among its peers at just 10 sentences. So it's the shortest one, most famous. In this article we examine 5 key lessons which you can learn from Lincoln's speech and apply to your own speeches. So these 5 key lessons are important. You have to give proper attention at how can we take benefit out of that famous speech and can apply upon our own speeches. Lesson 1. Anchor your argument solidly. So anchor means fasten or secure. Anchor your argument solidly. When trying to persuade your audience, the people who listen to you, one of the strongest techniques you can use is to anchor your arguments to statements which your audience believes in. Lincoln does this twice in his first sentence. For example, 87 years ago our fathers brought forth on this continent a new nation, conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. The first thing you have to address and you have to have grip upon your audience mind. You must know their beliefs. So he starts from these words. Among the beliefs which his audience held, perhaps none were stronger than those put forth in the Bible and Declaration of Independence. Lincoln knew this, of course, and included references to both of these documents. So obviously they were Christian. So one reference he put forward in front of his audience from Bible, and one from the Declaration of Independence. It means from their Day of Independence, which is called the Declaration of Independence, the day which America came into being. First, Psalms 90 verse 10 states, this is from their Bible, the day of our years are threescore years and 10. Note, a score equal 20 years. So the verse is stating that a human life is about 70 years. This is from Bible, this reference. Therefore, Lincoln's 87 years ago was a biblically evocative, reminiscent way of tracing backwards 87 years to the signing of the Declaration of Independence in 1776. The document contains the following famous lines. We hold these truths to be self-evident. Self-evident means obvious, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. So you can see here biblically evocative or evocative, it means reference from Bible, and evocative means figuratively, like the past in their memory, the memory which are dear and near to you from their religious book. So he just starting grabbing their audience mind from religious belief and from religious point of view, then drag them into the Declaration of Independence. So their country came into being, that is the date when America came into being, 1776. So when he was combining both biblical version with the independence version of their country, it's going to become 407 years ago. By referencing both the Bible and the Declaration of Independence, Lincoln is signaling that if his audience trusts the words in those documents, and they did, then they should trust his words as well. So he knew that those people were devout Christians, it means sincere Christian religious people, and they also did believe in the freedom of their country. So he started from very strong words. So how can you use this lesson? When trying to persuade your audience, seek out principle on which you agree and belief which you share. Anchor your argument from that solid foundation. You should know your audience and their beliefs and their foundation, the mutual sharing of your belief with their belief. So that will provide a common ground, and so you would be in a position to persuade them and convince them. Lesson 2. Employ classic rhetorical devices. Employ means to use or utilize classic rhetorical devices. So rhetorical devices means like figurative language, symbolical language. Lincoln employed simple technique which transformed his word from plain to poetic. Two which we will look at here are triads and contrast. So triads and contrast. Lincoln here is using a very good techniques. Both simple, plain means simple, plain techniques, as well as poetic, which is metaphorical and not literal, like symbolical. And triads mean presenting three ideas, and contrast means presenting the opposite ideas, two ideas opposite to each other. So you can see triads. First, he uttered two of the most famous triads were spoken. Three parallel ideas. We cannot dedicate, we cannot consecrate, we cannot hallow this ground. So after comma you can see triad means three ideas. We cannot dedicate, we cannot consecrate, we cannot hallow this ground. And the second example of the triad, government of the people, by the people, for the people, which is very famous quotation. The people, you might have come across mostly the leaders and the politicians. You know, they are using this democracy mean government of the people, by the people, for the people. So these are the triads which mean quotes most famously from his Lincoln's address. Second, he uses contrast wonderfully. So contrast means opposite ideas. For those who here gave their lives that nation might live. Now look here, for those who here gave their lives that nation might live. So gave their life, the death of the soldier contrasts with the life of the nation. So with life, with death, life. Next example, the world will little note not long remember what we say here, but it can never forget what they did here. Again here, remember contrast forget and contrast did. So he used these parallel ideas which attracts and fascinate audience minds. Rhetorical device which he skillfully used. How can you use this lesson? While the stately prose of Lincoln's day may not be appropriate for your next speech, there is still much to be gained from weaving rhetorical devices into your speech. A few well-crafted phrases often serve as memorable sound bites, giving your words an extended life. Now by this it means that you can not only use simple language and prose and plain and bland language, but you can use rhetorical devices, symbolical language, and by using you can get the required result that you want. But you have to use skillfully those phrases, those sound bites. Sound bite mean the utterances, the spoken words that would have everlasting impact on your audience. These are those everlasting impacts that Abraham Lincoln's speech is alive and is memorable and famous and popular till this day. Lesson 3. Repeat your most important words. Now this is also very much important. You need to give proper attention. When trying to persuade, it means convince. When trying to persuade your audience, seek out principles on which you agree and belief which you share. Anchor your arguments from that solid foundation. In the first lesson, we have seen how words can be used to anchor arguments by referencing widely held belief. So in the first lesson, we talk about their belief, their religion, Christianity, independence. In the second lesson, we have seen how words can be strung together to craft rhetorical device. In the second lesson, he just interwoven and joined the rhetorical devices and the words and phrases get together in order to convince his audience. Now, in the third lesson, we will turn our attention to the importance of repeating individual words. A word-by-word analysis of the Gettysburg Address revealed the following words are repeated. Now, he repeated these words. We repeated 10 times. He repeated 8 times. Nation repeated 5 times. And dedicate or dedicated 6 times. While this may not seem like much, remember that his entire speech was only 271 words. Repetition are very much important. By repetitive use of these words, he drilled his central point home. Like the men who died here, we must dedicate ourselves to save our nation. We create a bond with the audience. It's not about you or I, it's about us together. By we, he means to drag in that it's about us, not about me, any individual. By here cause Gettysburg springboard to propel them forward. By here, he means he wants to present the idea just like it is a reality, and it's just like to propel them forward, to bring them forward. Just like a reality, not something from another world. And by dedicate is more powerful than saying we must try to do this. If we plainly say we must try to do this, and if we dedicate, there is a huge difference. Dedicate has a convincing influence. Nation gives the higher purpose. How can you use this lesson? Now, determine the words which most clearly capture your central argument. Repeat them throughout your speech. particularly in your conclusion and in conjunction with other rhetorical devices. So how can we use this? Use these words in your marketing material. Speech little, speech introduction, and slide as well. So you have to repeat your central points and arguments again and again. Doing so will make it more likely that your audience will get your message and remember it. When you repeat the words time and again, so it will click into their minds. Lesson 4. Use a simple outline. The Gettysburg Address employs a simple and straightforward 3-part speech outline. Simple outline summary, not difficult. He used past, present, future. He started from past. The speech begins 87 years in the past with the signing of the Declaration of Independence and formation of a new nation. So starting from the past and entering into the present, the speech then described the present context, which was the Civil War, the great battlefield Gettysburg, and a dedication ceremony. The ceremony which was conducted at the memorandum of those died and martyred people. The new nation is being tested. So it was a trial and testing days. So starting from past, entering into present, moving into future. Lincoln paints a picture of the future where the promise of the new nation is fully realized through a desirable relationship between government and the people. So the future impact would be that there would be a close relation between the government and the people. So that's why they have to strive, they have to sacrifice, they have to present themselves for the greater cause. Note that the nation is the central thread trying all 3 parts together. So the nation was a central point, like a mother. How can you use this lesson? When organizing your content, one of the best approaches is one of the simplest. Go chronological. So you have to go just like in an organized, systematic way. Just like past, present, future. So this is chronological. Start in the past, generally at the moment of relative prosperity and happiness. Explain how your audience came to the present moment. Describe the challenge, the conflict, and the negative trend. And finally, describe more prosperous future, one that can be realized if your audience is persuaded to action by you. And speaking of being persuaded to act, that's important. In lesson 5, state a clear call to action. The final sentences of the Gettysburg Address are a rallying cry for Lincoln's audience. Although the occasion of the gathering is to dedicate a war memorial, a purpose to which Lincoln devotes many words in the body of his speech, that is not Lincoln's full purpose. So you have to give clear-cut way and direction to your audience. And that was to state a clear call to action. What they have to do? He called his audience to be dedicated here to the unfinished work. So they have to finish that Civil War cause, which was fighting for the greater purpose and rights of the people. To not let those died to have died in vain. So you shouldn't. It means he wanted to give the idea that their sacrifices would not go in vain. He implores means requests, he requests them and begs them to remain committed to the ideals set forth by the nation founding fathers. Emotionally, he was also appealing. How can you use this lesson? Number 5, the 5th lesson. The hallmark of a persuasive speech is a clear call to action. Don't hint at what you want your audience to do. Don't imply and don't suggest. Clearly state the action that, if taken, will lead your audience to success and prosperity. So you have to provide them clear direction. Homework. Revise the above 5 lessons and then revise the text of the speech on these pages. Hopefully you would have got the point and you would have enjoyed this, my dear students. Thank you very much and have a nice day.